everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Korok Seed Master Mode Challenge. We're continuing right along in collecting all Korok Seeds before accomplishing any other shrines beyond those required by the Great Plateau. So let's go ahead and continue through. Now, real quick before we jump into the seeds of today's video, go ahead and check to see if you are subscribed to the channel. If you're not, please take a moment to do so. That subscription's free and easy, and there's content coming to you on a daily basis. And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a like. So, the first seed that we are going to find in today's video, which is seed 181 of our overall journey, is a magnesis block puzzle down here on the beach. And you may be intimidated by the guardian off there in the distance, but he remains dormant, doesn't do anything unless you get too close for comfort. So we really don't have anything to worry about here. Now, the magnet, or the adjoining magnet puzzle that indicates where this block needs to go is actually under the water, and I tried looking, or putting that block in the back little notch there, but at a quick glance down we were able to discern that it's in fact the other notch right here. So as soon as we slide this block into place, we are able to collect the seed for the fruits of our labors here. And that is all she wrote down here on the beach, so let's move to some higher ground for the next few. Seed number 182 is a Korok pattern puzzle that we'll need to do, and the best way I've found to get this rock down to it is you want to just kind of roll it down off of the cliff. If you really are panicking about it, you can probably keep it in place with your stasis, and it would have been actually kind of cool if that rock would have rested in the middle of the puzzle there, but I don't know if there's a feasible way to really get it to do that. So placing the rock in the missing space gives us the Korok seed here. Seed number 183 is a variation on one of my favorite types of puzzles, which is these larger boulders that you need to push into a hole in the ground. And the quirk with this particular puzzle is that these boulders are up on a cliff and you need to push them down. Now, if you play your cards right, you can get it to bonk right into the center of that hole, but if you don't, no worries, you can go around and move those boulders back down into the hole manually. Now, do keep in mind that you've got 3 of them, so why not use all 3? And we just happened to get it on our second attempt, so no harm, no foul there. Seed number 184 is very similar to the other puzzle, and it's actually in the same little canyon where there's these 3 boulders that you can roll down from the top of this little mountain. And you want to ideally get them into the hole, but this one doesn't line up quite as nicely as the other one, or at least I wasn't able to get it to with these 3 attempts. So like I mentioned with the previous puzzle, if you don't get any of them actually rolling into the hole on your first try, you can come down and manipulate them manually. I was hoping to be able to push it into the hole by hand, but that wasn't the case, so we went ahead and whipped out our stasis rune to give this boulder a couple of whacks and break it free a little bit earlier than what it would expire normally, and it slides right into the hole, and that gets us the seed from this spot. So we're making some really nice progress here. Seed number 185 is a time trial puzzle, and this one is one of the longer time trials, as the other ring is on the other peak on the opposite side of this little valley here. So I did go ahead and refresh that timer and then glide our way across. And yeah, you probably could wrangle one of these horses or have a horse of your own to get across this a little quicker, but the timer is really forgiving. We do a little bit of whistle running just to make sure that we get our way around the stalk goblins there that are running around. And as we make our way to the top of this hill, we're not even down to that second to last timer just yet, as the third one had yet to expire. So that gets us a seed from this little puzzle pretty easily. Seed number 186 is just nearby here, and it's an archery puzzle. And this one is one of the puzzles that's a little bit more difficult. There are 3 different little acorns that pop up just above this ridgeline, so you've got to be pretty precise with your shots. But if you take a moment or two to analyze the patterns, you're going to be just fine. And that's exactly what we do here. We just let it pop up a couple of times, get a feel for the rhythm, and then let our arrow loose on it, and that gets us the seed with only one arrow wasted on this puzzle, so not the worst shooting puzzle that we've ever done. I still think that goes to the one we did a couple weeks back. Seed number 187 is another pattern puzzle, and this rock is a little bit hard to find, but as I've advised in previous episodes, if you're having trouble finding the rock that you need to complete this puzzle, go ahead and use your stasis rune, as it'll highlight the free rock that you can go ahead and pick up and then move around to it. And luckily, this one doesn't require any particularly precise movements to get it up to the adjoining puzzle. So as soon as we drop this rock into place in the missing pattern, that will grant us the seed for this Korok here. Now for seed number 188, this is another shooting puzzle, and I think this is one of my least favorite of the shooting puzzles that we've seen. Not because it's difficult in terms of the movements of these balloons, but they are a lot closer in range. And trying to do something point blank, especially when the target that you're going after is moving, can be a little bit frustrating. Now, most of these balloons we knock out pretty easily. In fact, the first 4 balloons we get within the first shot or 2, as soon as we figure out where they are and analyze the pattern slightly. But it's that last balloon which just so happens to be the closest of the balloons we're looking for, and also the quickest moving. So it definitely is quite irritating when it comes to trying to track down exactly what its pattern is, and it's on screen for such a short amount of time, it just blips in and out. So with a couple of attempts, we do eventually get it, and that grants us the seed from this spot, so we can move right along here. Now for seed number 189, we've got another pattern puzzle, and this one is not difficult, though I did have a little bit of a slip up here, because I expected to be able to walk this rock down the hill, but apparently it's a little too sheer right there, and the rock falls on top of my head. Now luckily we were on full hearts, so no harm, no foul there, and after dropping the rock into the proper position, we're able to collect the seed from this puzzle here. Seed number 190 is up on the peak of the mountain atop the Horse God Shrine, and so we do just want to go ahead and pick up the seed there. And as soon as we've collected it, we've got to get back into our tradition of dropping the rock back on top of his head. Though that tradition will have an interesting twist in just a couple of seeds. Now, for seed number 191, we've got another magnesis block puzzle. And this one is one of the larger ones, but it's pretty straightforward. The block that you're looking for is here on the far end, and you'll just want to back it up to the other far end puzzle. And you'll want to place it 3 blocks up from the edge of that puzzle, as that's what matches the structure just opposite. And that gets us the seed from this spot, and we can continue right along. Now seed number 192, we did a little bit of a wall jump glide to save us some time. And once we are onto this little plateau, there is a very large ring of stones that is missing one in particular. Luckily, it's not that hard to track down, and it's pretty much right in line with the rock that you need to complete the puzzle. So you pick it up, walk it about 40-50 feet over to the little hole in the pattern, and you'll be able to grab the seed from here, no worries. Now this is one of a couple of very, very large scale Korok puzzles, but it's certainly the first one that we've seen that's on such grand a scale as this one is in particular. Now seed number 193, we're backtracking just a little bit, and this is a lily pad puzzle in contrast to the seaweed puzzle we saw in last week's video. But as a brief caution, there is an Octorok chilling in the water there, so I would recommend using one of your bombs to go ahead and blow him up before jumping into the lilies to grab the seed from this spot. Now, seed number 194 is I call them Korok basketball puzzles because that's basically what they are. And this one is actually pretty easy to do once you understand the overall mechanics of it. We do have a couple of bokoblins, or stall bokoblins, popping in, and I did want to conserve some of the health of my tool here where possible, but unfortunately we weren't able to. But a fun fact about stall bokoblins is you can kick their heads into water, and since regular bokoblins can't swim, these guys can't either. And that kills them without requiring any other attention from any of your weapons here. So now that we have these bokoblins taken down, we can actually try to complete this puzzle. And you should, or you may be able to get the shot from here, but more than likely it's going to be a little bit shorter than what you're actually going to need. So what will be best is if you go ahead and make yourself a little Cryonis bridge in between the bank of the river and that puzzle. You can use a cool little bank shot, and that will get you the seed from this spot. And yes, the word cool was intentional because we needed an ice assist. For seed number 195, we've got another Korok hiding underneath a rock, but this time he's hiding underneath a giant stone tablet. And for this puzzle, I actually wanted to do something a little different than what we've seen previously. Now, it's very easy to go ahead and use a stasis charm to pull the rock off of the top of this Korok here, but I wanted to use an Octorok balloon because we've been on a quest for covering up a Korok after we freed him from underneath his little rock here. And that just doesn't seem to work well at all with the actual rocks because, well, it just bounces off the top of their head. So since this forest is so infested with mobs, we just let that Octorok balloon go ahead and expire, drop back down on top of this guy's head, and that should be enough protection for him. So, as far as I'm concerned, mission accomplished. Now, seed number 196 is atop this little tower here. And the problem with the particular iteration of the challenge that we're doing is you can't climb this tower on one set of stamina alone. So what we ended up doing is using a couple of stamina up potions, and then because I was suspecting we wouldn't be able to climb up this pillar either, I had prepared an additional stamina potion that we went ahead and drank right before zooming our way over here. So as we make our way to the top of this pillar, we just barely start dipping into that extra stamina, and we can complete the puzzle from this place and grab our seed. Now, this puzzle just so happens to be right next to a Hinox, a black Hinox to be specific. And though the Hinoxes and the black ones are not the most difficult of the enemies that you can find, I do think that it is a good opportunity for us to stock up on some weapons, as they generally have some very efficient and very nice weapons that you can use. Now, my initial plan was to try sneaking up onto his belly and just grabbing the weapons from off of him, as you can do that. But the ground here isn't as level as I'd like it to be, and so as we were trying to climb up on top of his hand, we accidentally woke him up. Now, my first intention was, well, let's just run away and back off. But as I sat and thought about it, you know, this isn't the most difficult Hinox out there, so why don't we just try taking him on? So we go ahead and try getting a couple of hits in on him with our bomb arrows, and on that third shot we actually hit him in the eye, which was nice. And then this spiked Boko Club does very well in getting some additional damage in on this Hinox. Though it does cost us the club in the long run, but I'm not too concerned because we're bound to get better equipment from this Hinox as soon as we defeat him. A second bomb arrow to the eye is going to be more than what we need to take him into kind of the second phase here, and I believe he doesn't learn any better to protect his face until we've done that to him 3 times, which should be more than enough of what we need. So as we peg him in the face for the third and final time here, we'll go ahead and finish some stuff up with our spiked Moblin Club, and he's just barely starting to get up as we take him down. So not only does this give us some really nice weapons to add to our arsenal, but it also allows us to get some much needed food for health replenishment as well, as he drops quite a bit of that. Additionally, we get a bunch of monster parts which you can either use in elixirs or you can sell at a very nice profit at any of the markets, or, you know, hold on to them until you find the monster shop where you can sell it there for some mon instead. Which I don't know that we'll do as we're cranking out the Korok seeds, but possibly once we have all of them collected. Moving along to seed number 197, we need to climb to the top of this little archway, and as soon as we make our way to the top, we've just got to make our way to the midpoint or closer to the edge where there is a lone Korok seed waiting for us. And upon lifting the Korok seed off of that guy's head, we are able to collect the seed from this location, which brings us closer to the end of today's episode at the very least. Now, seed number 198 is out here on the beach. It's another Korok seed puzzle, so we'll want to go ahead and move this rock from underneath the palm tree to the circle on the ground. And do be a little bit cautious, as this puzzle in particular is right next to a stone talus. So as long as you keep your distance, you're not going to wake him up and you're not going to have any troubles or problems. And I think we've had enough monster fights for one day. Seed number 199 is just on a ledge up above where that last puzzle was, and it's another Korok hiding underneath the rock, so you'll just want to lift that off the top of his head, grab the seed, and it's raining, so, I mean, the stone rock's as best as I can do for an umbrella. Sorry, I can't do you better like the last guy. And for seed 200, the final seed of today's video, we will take a short glide from that ledge down to this little cavern, and as you can see as we're approaching, there is a solitary balloon hanging out in this little archway. So we'll just want to go ahead and use our bow to shoot all the way up there and pop the balloon. The trajectories can be a little bit weird, but once you take one shot, you should be able to adjust your trajectory as needed, pop that balloon, and get away with the seed from this spot. So that's going to do it for today's episode. I do hope that you're enjoying this series, as we'll be back for another 20 seeds next week. So thanks again for watching, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day.